for their actions. Okay? These are their people. But what has been obtaining in the past 50 to 60 years is that these companies are what? Laws unto themselves. At times, these companies really control the governments of those countries.
The influence of money and wealth.
Exactly. At times, these companies really run the countries indirectly, because even from the president on down has been paid off, you know, by the huge sums of money that accrues from mining, you know, particularly, you know, with oil. So they turn their face somewhere else while these, you know, companies are busy looting. Take, for example, we have just mentioned Bayelsa State in Nigeria, or Rivers State in Nigeria. In fact, their gross, you know, domestic product, or their monthly income really, is higher than almost half of the other African countries. This is just few states in where the oil comes from. But what do those governments do with the money? Nothing but
put it in their pockets and arrears, and nothing for the people.
Exactly, put it in their pockets and then disappear. One of the former governors now named LMadu6. Yeah, he was arrested in London where he had, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. He ran away. And that one called James Ibori, he was the governor of oil-rich, you know, Delta State. He's still in London now in jail for stealing, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, for himself.
There was no end to their greed. Is that what, I mean, there's no appropriate kind of stealing that they do. They want it all. Is that
exactly. Nothing. It's just not take a dollar and leave the rest for the people. No, it's clean everything and let everybody else be poor, and you are the only king in there. That's part of the problem. And even people in Africa and Nigeria understand that if the politicians are not in cahoot with these mining companies, they cannot get away with what they are doing, you see. So whenever they come in and they're in cahoot with the government, then they're empowered to keep, you know, polluting and not being accountable, you know. I mentioned Patrice Lumumba when we started here. That's part of why he died. Because the Union Minière de Haut-de-Katanga, the northern mineral company of northern Katanga from Belgium, owned the rights to the copper mines in Katanga, which is called Shaba now. And obviously, Lumumba was going to nationalize, you know, the copper mines and all that. So they knew that, and the only way to deal with it is to get rid of him early, so that they could keep, you know, the right to mine and pollute and do whatever they want.
So outright assassination and killing anybody who might talk about reform or anything is one of the things that generally happen to any kind of reform. There are no reformers in reference to some of these issues. Is that what we're saying?
That's correct, because a lot of these oil companies and mining companies have a lot of money to buy off some of the greedy politicians who do not anyway have the interests of their people at heart. You know, some things that they could not do in this country or any other part of the world, where you have to account to the people for whatever you do.
Well, Dr. Madu, last minute we have here. Is there a solution to this? It seems that there's no solution to this kind of issue, is there?
Well, I think the solution is that the governments in Western Europe or in the United States here, you know, have to prevail on these oil companies, you know, that do business in Africa, say, hey, if you don't maintain the standards over there that you do here, then we have to sanction, you know, those companies. Like Chevron is from the US, you know, and all the rest. We have to put some sanctions on you until, you know, you start acting proper over there as far as environmental controls are concerned.
Well, that seems to be such a long shot, and so many people would suffer between now and then that it's a very, very discouraging kind of situation. And I think that oftentimes we talk about Africa really coming back from some real problems, but there's still some real problems in Africa. Is that right?
Absolutely. And insofar as environmental degradation and pollution is concerned,
very good. And of course, Dr.